All right, greetings everyone. The purpose of this video is to show how to calculate certain values related to a car loan using the formula we have in front of us, along with some additional math to not only calculate the total amount that we can borrow for a car loan, but also to figure out the total amount we pay back, as well as the amount that we pay back that is interest. So let's first take a look here at our loan formula that we're going to use. So as you can see here, it is P sub 0 equals D times 1 minus in the quantity 1 plus R over K, that raised to the negative N times K power, all divided by R over K. And in this formula, we see down below what each of those values stands for. So first of all, P sub 0 will be the balance in the account at the beginning. In other words, the amount of the loan, as it says here. D is the loan payment, and this is where this formula may look a little different than you expect. You might expect that we would start with the loan amount and then figure out the payment. And so the payment variable D here, you might expect to be over by itself, but that's not the way this one's set up. R is your annual interest rate, also known as your APR in decimal form. K is the number of compounding periods in 1 year, and N is always the length of the loan, and that's always given in years. Okay, and then it's hopefully you've also studied payout annuities prior to this, and this formula here for loans is actually the same as a payout annuity formula. Okay, so let's look at an example here. So we're told in this question that you can afford $250 per month as a car payment. If you can get an auto loan with 4% interest for 72 months, which is the same as 6 years of length, then we want to answer these 3 questions. So what value car can you afford? Or in other words, what is the maximum value loan you can afford? If you borrow that maximum amount, what's the total you pay back? And then how much of that money you pay back will be interest. So let's take a look at this. So we're going to start with the part about figuring out the amount you can borrow based on the given information. And as we do this, let's recall that our formula in this case is that P sub 0 equals D parentheses 1 minus parentheses 1 plus R over K to the negative N times Kth power, all divided by R over K. And since we're asked about the value of the loan that we can afford, or what the maximum loan value is, that tells us we're looking for this value here, this P sub 0, because that stands for the amount of the loan, which means that the information given in the problem should allow us to fill in the values for all the other variables, namely D, the variable D, R, K, N. And then, of course, we see K and R repeated in different places. So let's take a look at the information up above and see where these values are represented. So first thing we see is that we're told you can afford $250 per month. So that would tell us that would be our payment amount. So that'd be our value for the letter D. We can get an auto loan with 4% interest, and we can assume in this case that that's our APR, our APR, which will be our value for lowercase r there. And then we're also told that this length of this loan will be for 6 years, so that'll be our value for N. And then we also need to know the frequency to be able to fill in that value for K, our compounding frequency. And we get that from, since our payment is going to be per month, that will also be our compounding frequency for the interest. And so we know that that will be our value for K, or tell us our value for K. And in fact, since it's per month, that will tell us that our value for K is 12, since there are 12 months in a year. Okay, so now that we have that information, we go ahead and fill it in, or each piece of information into its corresponding variable in the formula. So for D, we have 250. Again, parentheses 1 minus 1 plus our value for R, which comes from that 4%. But we need to convert that to a decimal, so that would be 0.04 divided by the value for K. Again, since we're compounding monthly or paying monthly, that'll be 12. And then in the exponent of this part, we do negative for capital N, since it's going to be 6 years. That will be our value for 6 times the value for K, which is 12. And then we can go ahead and divide that by, again, that value for R, which is 0.04, all divided by 12. Okay. And my suggestion is to use a calculator such as Desmos at this point, where you can enter this whole expression here all at once. Okay, so I don't want to do this step by step. I just want to put that whole thing into the calculator all at one time. If we do that, what we come up with for the amount of money we can borrow for our loan would be $15,979.36. And that would be the value of our loan. Okay. Now here's the thing about this. Since this is a loan, we're going to have to pay this back. But most likely we're borrowing the money because we don't have that total amount of money, so we can't just pay it back right away. So because of that, there's going to be interest, and we're going to pay back over time. And so because of that, we'll actually end up paying back more than what the value is for what we borrowed. So that's our next question is, if we borrow that maximum amount, that $15,979.36, and assuming we take the full 6 years to pay it back, what is the total amount we'll end up paying back? And there's no necessarily a formula for this one, but we can just use our reasoning skills. So we know we're making 200 payments of $250 per month, which means that if we did 250 times 12, since we're making a payment every month, that would give us the total amount that we pay back in a year. But then we also know that we're borrowing the money for a period of 6 years. So we could go ahead and multiply that number by 6. And so what we're doing here is taking our monthly payment, our $250 per month, multiplying it by the 12 months in a year, and then by the 6 years. And if we multiply those three numbers together, what we get is that we end up paying back $18,000, which hopefully makes sense. That's higher than the amount we borrowed, and so we will end up paying back more than that. Okay, and then the next question you might have from that is, well, how much more did I end up paying? How much in interest did I pay back? And that's what our final question. And to answer that, what we do is we take that amount that we paid, this is $18,000. We take the amount we borrowed, which was the $15,979.36. And again, there's no formula here. If we just use our reasoning skills, we know the difference between those two. So if I subtract them, that'll give us how much we end up paying in interest. And so in this case, our answer ends up being $2,020.64. If you go ahead and plug in that subtraction into your calculator, again, doing the 18,000 minus the 15,979.36, and we end up with the amount we pay back in interest is $2,000.20 and $2,020.64. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for watching.